Could I tell you about a time where one of the characters surprised me with where they went? Not so much on account of those people work for me. And if they start veering off track, all I have to do is go back in and provide them with good enough motivation to do what I need them to do. Because as far as the Dresden Files universe goes, I'm God there. I can go back and alter the past and everything, and I am a cruel and malicious God at times. But there are characters who have surprised me with how they developed after I created them. It wasn't that they didn't do their job, it's just they did their job too well to get rid of. You know, I wanted to have the mouthy medical examiner because I love that kind of figure. So I created Butters and figured he'd be there once. And then, but after I got done with him, I'm like, this guy's way too cool. I have to find an excuse to use him again. So yeah, a couple of Deadbeat came along, and I'm thinking, oh man, this character, the medical, against all the necromancers who are going around animating corpses, who needs to be your sidekick? The medical examiner who works with corpses. You know, how completely appropriate, yet useless to the hero. And so Butters jumped in, and now he's getting even more involved, poor guy. Over here holding 2 books up.
Yeah, I noticed you said previously you had a lot of martial art experience. What is it, and how much do you actually have to look into to write your books? Like how much more research?
Okay, how much martial arts experience do I have, and where is it, and how much more do I look into it for the books? My martial arts experience was started with a style called Ryukyu Kempo, which is an Okinawan style. Most of my training is in a variant of Goju Shoryu that was concentrated on street fighting, and had a lot of stomp on their foot, kick them in the knee, don't get sand thrown in your face kinds of moves. I've also studied some Taekwondo, Shaolin Kung Fu, enough Aikido to know that I wouldn't be very good at it. I'd like to get some Krav Maga in, but I haven't found time to do it yet. And a bunch of fencing, which actually is a martial art, even if, you know, it's kind of old. Yeah, huzzah! As far as looking into it for the books, really one of the more instructive things for the stories that I found was a book called Baseball Bats, Pool Cues, and Bike Chains by, I can't remember the name of the guy. His name is, like, I think it was Mad Dog something. But I mean, it's a very practical guide to how violence really tends to work in the world, and how you know, how unpredictable it is, and how much you really have to be focused on knowing how to do that if you want to go actually engage in any violence with any amount of skill. I'm not a skillful martial artist. I'm an enthusiastic martial artist. There's a difference. Yeah, right here.
There was a lack of mouse in this book. Are we going to have more of him, or is he just going to be protecting Maggie?
There's a lack of mouse in this book. Are we going to have more of him, or is he going to be protecting Maggie from now on? And the answer to that is yes. Yeah, Mouse was one of those characters that I wanted to create so that Dresden had kind of a home security system. Because otherwise, there were more and more of these bad guys coming that would just kill him in his sleep. It's like, oh wait, there's a foo dog there. That isn't going to work. Right here.
Is he going to get Bob back, or is Bob going to stay with Butters?
Is he going to get Bob back, or is Bob going to stay with Butters? I'm not going to tell you. See, thank you. You're getting on with it with me. Thank you.
There are several authors that I follow are very sensitive about IP and people pretending to be characters on various forms. And I've noticed that a lot of the folks following on Twitter they talk to you, they use your characters. In fact, I've started counting how many copies of them and going back and forth, and they're talking to themselves and how crazy that feels. How come you're so generous about that?
How come I don't mind it when people are doing things like playing my characters on Twitter, and how come I'm not savagely defending my intellectual property? I never really thought that these books would be all that successful, and oh no, seriously, especially the first 4 or 5 years, I would go to signings and nobody would show. I would go to readings and nobody would show. And yeah, I know. And so, and the idea for me for doing these books is that people should read the books and have a good time. That's the point. If I then started jumping all over people who were just having a good time while they were waiting for the next book, the folks that were out there, role-playing Harry Dresden on boards and on Twitter, what kind of jerk would I be to do that? I mean, those are my most rabid and proselytizing fans. Why in the world? Purely from a mercenary standpoint. Seriously, just from my own sense of self-advantage, why would I kick these people in the face and say, no, stop doing that, that's my stuff? It doesn't make any sense. And really, besides, they're having a good time. That was the point of the books. Let's do more of that. And I think we'll be all right. I think everybody will survive it. But let's see. Back here, red wristband.
Two questions. How do you justify that it's not a cliffhanger? And did Matt lie?
Okay. How do I justify that the end of Changes as not a cliffhanger? And I will tell you this, sir. Here was the story. Harry Dresden sets out to rescue his daughter, even if it costs him his life, and it does. The end. From the perspective of storytelling format, that is not a cliffhanger because you know the end of it. Of course, I do sometimes forget that not everybody else knows the whole rest of the story. Sorry. The second one, did Mab lie? Mab did not lie. Mab was wrong. Which is there's a subtle difference to that at the end of Ghost Story. As far as Mab's concerned, she's telling the truth because she's telling the truth from her experience as she knows it. Dresden, however, he's getting an earful of truth on a more cosmic level. So we'll see how that plays out a little bit more in the next book. Let's see, right here with all the bracelets. Oh, that's Kira. Yeah, hi. How you doing?
Good. Julie told me to say hi to you.
Okay.
Are we gonna find out why you like the name Maggie so much? Margaret?
Are we gonna find out why I like the name Maggie so much? If you do,
Margaret so much.
or Margaret, if you do find out, let me know. Because then that way maybe I'll have a better idea. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of the names I just name names.
I mean, we're gonna find out the correlation that it's used more than once in the Margaret.
Maybe. It very well could be. I'm not sure. Right next to her, or up a row. Yeah, you.
Can we expect a short story from Molly's point of view ever?
Can we expect a short story from Molly's point of view ever? Almost certainly. I would probably write it from some point while she was busy being the crazy lady who defended Chicago. So actually she's still doing that. So as of now, right here, purple shirt.
You've mentioned several times through the books that using the wizard's sight irresponsibly can drive you mad. Has that happened to anyone that we've seen in the continuity, and what does happen to someone that gets driven mad by their sight?
Okay, I've said several times in the books that if you use your wizard sight irresponsibly, it can drive you nuts. What happens to the people whom it drives nuts, and have we ever seen that in the series? Red changes, right? I mean, yeah, too much truth in the face of somebody who is genuinely sincere about their beliefs often pushes them to do really extreme things, like wiping out entire races of vampires. So yeah, you are seeing it to some degree, but at the same time, while the truth can be painful, it's usually while the truth is painful, it's also liberating. And unfortunately, though, sometimes it liberates you of your sanity. But that's the best answer I can give you.